detective, thrill me.
Thanks for joining us. Once again, we've had to pivot, Jared. We seem to pivot a lot. We probably should and stop pirouetting and just do things that we say we're going to do. Because I think in the last 3 weeks we've pirouetted twice.
But, you know, what would people's lives be without, you know, an episode like this in between that kind of plan?
Exactly. It kind of comes out of nowhere.
We just have to pivot. And
it's got the gold in it. It's the gold. Tonight's episode is from 2024. It's M. Night Shyamalan's Trap. But before we get to that, let's do a quick round the grounds, Jared, on what's been watched. I finished off Reacher Season 3. Look, much more satisfying, this one. And I'll tell you why. The character is such a big unit. He's always the biggest dude out there. So he's never in any physical danger, so to speak. You know what I mean? But this one, they introduced this bloke who's like fucking 7'2", built like a brick shithouse, and they end up having a fucking god almighty stink in the last episode, which is very much worth the payoff. And Reacher gets his ass whipped, like pretty hard. And he ends up killing him. He actually has to use his brain instead. He doesn't have him physically. And I like that.
You like to just fucking spoil it, don't you? You
No,
just
but
like to drop a spoiler out there for anyone that hasn't watched it.
The guy's going to survive. Come on.
We get it, but there might be a little bit of a twist in there. There might be a little bit of a twist.
There might be. I mean, there might be, Jared. But I guess what even the books, I was kind of like, I'm getting a bit tired of this kind of constant sort of, there's never anyone who can take him on.
Yeah.
Which this did a pretty good job with that. I watched Final Destination 3. As you said, Jared, we're starting to crest into the ridiculous.
Starting to dip under the line of,
yeah,
this plays well to, this is a bit silly.
The problem is the Final Destination 3 actually probably has a slightly better cast, I think. I'm a Mary Elizabeth Winstead fan, and she's in that. And I think that the rest of the cast is just a little bit tidier, a little bit better than Part 2. I just don't feel the energy is there in the set pieces that was in Part 2. Plus, there's a character in Part 3 who's not, quite frankly, the biggest fucking knob who's ever been in a horror film. He fucking wanders around with a camera fucking trying to stare at everyone's tits and stuff like that. Like, he's the sort of guy that I think to myself, do these guys exist?
Yeah, well,
like,
yeah,
who
they
the
do.
fuck's met these guys? Because I haven't met them. And then I watched the Final Destination, Part 4. Again, there's no plot to these movies, Jared. I mean, I should have realised that at Part 1, but I soldiered on.
It's like watching a game of mousetrap, a violent game of mousetrap.
Yeah, it's basically like Saw.
Yeah.
You know, that violent set pieces.
Yeah,
which I'm not going to...
Saw's got plot. That's where we twist, 3 or 4 times.
It's got too much plot.
Yeah.
But I think the Final Destination needs some plot. It's always the same shit. You know, we cheated death. Death's coming for us. How do we get out of it?
Yeah.
But in between, we'll kill 1 million people and we'll fucking, we'll do it. And this one does it in the Final Destination.
How do we get out of it? We never fucking solved that problem, but we'll
keep fucking working on it while getting fucking hideously maimed throughout.
I was watching. I was starting to watch Part 2, and I fell asleep, and I woke up just at the point where one of the ridiculous kills happens. And I fucking just kind of
giggled,
just sort of opened my eyes, kind of burst out laughing, turned the TV off, and went back to sleep.
Yeah. It's a bit of fun.
Yeah,
I think they're all a bit of fun, right? But I just, once again, I mean, I like the look of Bloodline, but I get the feeling like we're just getting the same thing. We're not going to get anything new. It's about the quality of the set pieces.
The teaser to that really worried me. It was going to be much more silly.
Yeah, it did. It worried me fucking pretty hard.
Yeah.
Okay, I saw Deep Star 6, which is a Sean Cunningham joint. Nah. No. Sean's not a director. He's not a very good director.
No.
It's all fairly standard. There's not much to look at. The underwater stuff's pretty shitty looking.
Yeah.
The monster looks all right. And there's a couple of interesting kind of deaths, and the cast is okay. It's more of a B to C grade cast, but it's made up of, some reasonable players. But overall, it's just boring. Like, fuck. There was six underwater movies or 7 underwater movies released in that period between like 88 and 90. And the only one that's any good is The Abyss. Like, I'm pretty sure, although I was trying to hunt out some of the other shitty ones. The Rift is on Amazon Prime. Another one called Lords of the Deep from Roger Corman's studio is on Tubi.
Mm-hmm.
So I may have to partake in that shit as well. Dig into that. And the big one for me was I went and saw Drop.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute and utter shite.
Not happy.
Absolute shit.
Okay,
It was
good.
fucking terrible. And I was fuming. Like, I came out, my wife wanted to fucking divorce me because I was just fucking fuming the whole way back to the car. And I'll tell you why. And please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm looking at the posters and stuff that they did up, and the tagline was everyone's a suspect, right? So to me, it's a whodunit.
Yeah.
It's meant to be, judging by some of the old school posters they put together, it was meant to be like Alfred Hitchcock. That's what they were going for. They were going for kind of like current day,
yes and no,
sort of whodunit.
I mean, the trailer didn't sell that. The trailer just sold.
It's just standard kind of thriller.
Yeah, is there someone here? I mean,
But I got the idea.
I had some suspicions based on the trailer, which is not a great thing.
But put it this way, it's meant to be a whodunit, right? But it doesn't do that very well.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you anything that these two people at this table, like, get on well, have a good relationship before things start to go a bit pear-shaped. So basically, she spends the entire fucking movie looking at her phone while she's on a date with this guy. Yeah. I was just like, clearly she is not fucking interested. Like, if I was sitting there, I'd be like, let's just fucking leave.
So I'm putting it out there. I'm going to go see it, but I didn't get from the trailer. I didn't get a whodunit. I got a. She's in a restaurant full of people, and obviously someone's close because they're airdropping shit. So I got a vibe of this is what it's going to be, but I never really got like a kind of
they try
Agatha Christie style.
No, they try to kind of do. This is maybe why it doesn't work, Jared. It's because maybe they weren't really going for it, but they keep putting in things where she's looking at that guy over there, looking at that guy over there.
Yeah, which I expected, but
thinking that he might be doing it, what have you, right? But it also just brought in some things, and I'll tell you what I liken it to. Black Christmas. Bringing in some heavy-duty shit into something that probably didn't necessarily need it, in my opinion.
Are you talking about the Black Christmas remake?
The Black Christmas remake, the Blumhouse one.
Yep, okay.
Where you're bringing in some serious topics that I didn't feel were that necessary.
Yeah.
In this. This was a pot boiler for me. It's a pot boiling sort of thriller. Something's, things are fucking getting up and up and up.
Yeah.
And it didn't do it well. And it was disappointing because I was actually looking forward to it.
Well, it's currently sitting at a 3 on Letterboxd, so I might have to...
I mean, each to their own. I just didn't like it, like at all. And the actors did nothing for me.
I mean, to be clear, that doesn't
mean anything.
It doesn't necessarily mean anything.
No, but I mean, you're gonna have a bit of fun with it, maybe.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have any. Like I was just
it
like,
doesn't sound like it.
As it rolled along, I was just like, this is crap. Okay. And the actors, like in typical Blumhouse style, they don't get big names, do they?
No, like when they're doing it on the cheap,
they keep their budgets down. They get smaller names.
Yeah.
And most of them, a lot of them don't really make a lot of a mark.
Yeah. I mean, Blumhouse is still kind of running with that same formula, but they just don't seem to have had like a...
They're not hitting them out of the park.
They're hitting singles.
Yeah. Dabbing it through the two guys at the fucking square of the wicket. Yeah, but they're not hitting it with any power. They're not belting it over the
fence. Yes. And haven't done for a little while.
Because Lady in the Yard has also been a bit middling.
I heard that was pretty bad.
I mean, these will all make money for them.
Well, they should make a bit of money.
They're not big budget.
yeah, we want one of these. Want one of these situations where it's a good movie. It's one of these different concepts that comes out really well again.
Yeah.
That's what we're waiting on. It's been a little while.
Yes. There was also a trailer for Megan 2.0.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
You're
a bad.
not happy?
Maybe it was a bad trailer. I think it might have been a bad trailer.
Well, it looks like a big shift in tone.
Yeah,
sure.
definitely. I mean, they kept the kind of irreverent humor vibe,
Yeah,
which was in the first one. It looked like a superhero movie. There seemed to be lots of fights and shit where they were
It didn't not
belting
I
each
didn't
other
get
into
superhero.
things.
I definitely got action.
Yeah, definitely action.
But they had that sequence where there's a lot of neon colours and shit like that.
Yeah, it seemed
But
to be weird.
we're going a bit of T2.
But maybe it's just, they're going in a different direction
Yeah.
and it's not the same as the first one.
That's what I'm
which is fine.
It definitely looks like, we're taking the fucking T800
Yeah.
approach.
He becomes
of,
the
oh,
hero.
we've reprograms.
Yeah.
Although when Megan's fucking consciousness got put in that little thing with the screen for her face and stuff, I was wondering what was happening there. I'm hoping that's not going to be long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're both sort of predicting that Megan 2 won't be the one to break the duck.
It might be, though,
It might be
Jared. This
another
is the
single,
thing.
or it might be paddled away for 2.
What I'm hoping is they send one down leg side and it's clipped off the pads before.
Yeah.
No, Megan 2 could be the one that breaks the duck because Megan was very successful. So it's got a bit more of a built-in audience there.
But I guess I mean not necessarily like money-wise. We know they're pretty.
Are you talking about break the duck?
I'm talking about a really good Blumhouse movie.
Yeah, that's true. They haven't had a really good one.
Because even Megan, I enjoyed the first Megan, but it wasn't one of their like top tier efforts.
What was their last real good one?
Fuck, good question. We might have to have a
mate,
little look into that.
That's a tough call because the last one that I really enjoyed was probably Freaky.
Yeah. Freaky
That's a while ago.
Freaky was really good, actually.
That's a while ago too. Freaky.
It is.
That's like in COVID times.
Yeah.
So do you reckon they've failed to hit a boundary in like 5 years?
I reckon something like that.
Shit.
Here we've got a list of.
That would surprise. That's a surprise to me.
Yeah, it is because they're money-wise, they're probably still doing all right, but they just don't seem to be nailing those movies. I didn't see Speak No Evil.
Speak No Evil was okay, but not brilliant.
Five Nights at Freddy's did well money-wise.
Yeah, how was it film-wise?
I liked it, but I wouldn't put it up there as a
top tier.
Totally Killer. Totally Killer was good.
Totally Killer was one of their better ones, yeah.
Yeah, more insidious ones and things like that. Megan, far out. Halloween Ends. Yeah, it's been. The Black Phone was in 2022.
I didn't mind the Black Phone.
I didn't mind the Black Phone, but I didn't. Again, I wouldn't have put it right up there. Yeah, it's been a while. Freaky was in 2020.
Jesus.
So
what was the last movie they did put out prior to Drop and Lady in the Yard?
The Woman in the Yard, Wolfman. They were involved in Wolfman.
Yeah, I heard that wasn't great.
Imaginary wasn't that far. Wasn't that far back. Night Swim.
Fuck me.
Yeah, it's Exorcist Believer was.
They
before
have
Five Nights
had
at
a
Freddy's.
fucking shocker. Forget about
yeah.
They're in a bit of a slump.
Creatively, it's a bit of a funk at the moment.
It's a fucking funk, all right. Christ.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, not a strong period for them.
Again, take notes, lads. Get rid of Jeff Wadlow, for starters. No more Jeff.
Start.
No more from Jeff. There's talk of a Happy Death Day 3.
Yes.
I'm not as keen on that after Happy Death Day 2.
Oh, I didn't love Part 2.
It was rubbish. Part 2 was rubbish.
Yeah.
I don't know what they were thinking there. That's how you take a really good concept and fuck it right over.
Okay. Just rub it in.
Wadlow, definitely keep Wadlow out of action. One of the guys who wrote Drop also wrote fucking Truth or Dare, so I was a little bit hurt.
Not one of my favourites.
No. All right, that was me though. That was me.
Okay, mine was pretty low key. I watched a few more episodes of Freddy's Nightmares.
Oh, how's that going?
It's all right.
Some of it's okay.
Yeah, some of it's okay. It's you get some average episodes. I watched a pretty good one that had Laurie Petty as a kind of a student athlete
Oh, yeah?
vibe, which wasn't too bad. Haven't had another one where Freddie's necessarily all that involved yet.
Yeah.
Heading up towards that. But I like the idea of, it's all set around Springwood and whatever.
Anthology.
But yeah, you get some stinky.
Rocks
work in
and
there.
diamonds.
Rocks and diamonds. I think most of it is probably a bit pebbly, a bit rocky sort of territory, rocky terrain.
It looks like Blumhouse's last 10 films, doesn't it?
Yeah, something like that. But I'm enjoying it because it's one of those ones that I've been meaning to tick off for a long time. And I was under no illusions going in that this has been well received.
Oh, no. Do you know that this is just, like, it's about, like, nostalgia?
Yeah, it was a cash in, but it was in that period. We're in that period where people are like, it's been a long time. People aren't upset about that stuff anymore. Let's revisit and see what's decent about them.
Yeah.
I mean, there is some fun to be had there. So, yeah, not too bad. Finished up my little sort of journey into Tony Jaa territory with The Protector 2.
How was that? What was he protecting this time?
Still an elephant. But it wasn't as good. It did have some decent fight scenes and a couple of players, like, what's that bloke's name? Maurice Crump or whatever his name is, that was in like Triple Threat and stuff like that as well. I think he's an American sort of kickboxing style character. So there was a couple of decent blues with him and Tony Jaa in there, and you kind of got what you're going into these movies for, but there probably wasn't as many memorable kind of sequences. Like nothing like that one I talked about in the warehouse with the trams and the fucking bikes and shit in the previous one. But a bit of fun. I found Frankie Frico. I was able to watch Frankie Frico, which I'd been sniffing around.
Is that again?
So it's by Steven Kostansky and those Astron 6 guys. Psycho Gorman and those sorts of things. And it was their kind of take on, like, I guess it was kind of like Gremlins and Garbage Pail Kids kind of shit. They were using puppet technology, and
yeah, it wasn't. It
was not great. It wasn't great. I thought it was going to be funnier than it was, and there was a few funny moments to be had. But all in all, I was expecting a little more.
Kostansky and the lads let you down, did they?
Yeah, it's not as much fun as I usually have with their work.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be sort of sticking around to see what else they're going to be working on, but not my favourite. And that was pretty much it for me.
All right.
I mean, busy weekend. The basketball playoffs have started. WrestleMania's been on, so I've just been...
okay, so
I've been tied up.
tied up. All right. Let's take a break. Here's the trailer for 2024's Trap.
This whole concert? It's a trap.
Be aware of what we're dealing with. He's going to be charming, sympathetic. To your nervous system, he'll be telling the truth.
Somebody help me, please!
He's going to try to use chaos to get by us.
What's going on, Dad?
Trap. I'm in control. Only in theaters August 2nd.
Trap from 2024, written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan, who gave us Unbreakable. Produced by Shyamalan, Mark Blenstock, who produced Wild Things Foursome. I didn't know there was 4 of them, but I better look back on them. And Ashwan Rajan, who produced Caddo Lake. It stars Josh Hartnett as Cooper, Ariel Donahue as Riley, and Salika Shyamalan as Lady Raven. The budget was $30 million. The box office was $83 million worldwide. Now, Shyamalan declared in an interview that the plot was inspired by the Washington, D.C. Operation Flagship Sting on December 15, 1985, which was organised by the U.S. Marshal Service and the Metropolitan Police to lure wanted fugitives to the Washington Convention Center under the pretense of free tickets. It resulted in 101 arrests, one of the largest and most successful mass arrests of fugitives by U.S. law enforcement. Criminals are not smart.
Redskins tickets or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Season tickets because they had like a 10-year wait.
Criminals are not smart people, are they? So let's move on to this film, Jared, because you were fairly strident in your thoughts.
Yeah, I wasn't super
What's
pleased.
your take?
Well, obviously, we both got conned by Max and fucking leapt in to sign up for it.
Yes. Fucking hell, I could not wait.
Did you get stitched up for 12 months yet?
No, I haven't got stitched up yet, but I've got to speak to my colleague purchased the first month, and then I need to take over
Yeah.
their shit.
Yeah, so I this was one of the first ones that grabbed me on there because it was one of the more recent films,
Mhm.
and I'd been wanting to see it. So I was like, okay, well, that's a start. I knew that the reception had been mixed, but this was another one where
57% on Rotten Tomatoes, Jared.
yeah, this is another one where I'd sort of looked at, you look at Letterboxd and you can follow people on Letterboxd. So I tend to try to follow people that are in like the horror movie circles and things like that, or generally sort of just in line with the stuff that I usually like. And the response there had been pretty solid. I mean, there was a few low reviews, but I saw some people that I've followed and like to sort of stay up on what they're checking out, and there was 3.5s and 4s in there. So I thought, okay, this might be all right. I came out of it just fucking baffled at how we got anywhere near those levels. I thought it lacked any of the sort of cat and mouse that it was looking to set up.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was fleeting moments where you thought the strength of the premise is gonna come through here. I thought it was just fleeting, and then we would just go back to these moments where Hartnett's character would just get lucky, or something would happen where it was just like, okay, well, he got out of that too easy, and we didn't really feel any sort of squeeze on him. I thought he was good. He got a chance to sort of go between this goofy dad and then again, fleeting moments where you see him feeling pressure and then gets to be a little darker towards the end. But I just thought the piece as a whole just didn't work at all. Like I said, he didn't get squeezed much. He got out of things a little too easily. I thought the pacing was all kind of mucked up, and I feel some of that was because M. Night got distracted by putting his daughter at the forefront.
Yes.
In certain ways. So we get a movie that kind of, we start to feel like, oh, we're rounding the home straight here, but then we've got another fucking 50 minutes. Like,
yeah,
and so yeah, it just all felt really mucked up to me, and I was not pleased at all. I went for a 1.5. I was fucking filthy by the time I got to the end of it.
Yeah. Again, this this sort of also felt like it was supposed to be like a pot boiler sort of thriller because it was. That setup seemed like it was ripe for some type of possibilities, but at no point did it create anything of note. And I'll talk about some stuff that I was a bit surprised that Knight didn't go down this way because a twist is where he lives.
Yeah.
There was some things I felt he possibly could have done which would have made it better that went in the more twisting sort of realm.
Yeah.
But he just never gets anything right here. The dialogue's fucking
The dialogue's shambolic at times.
Jared, this guy wrote in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best superhero movie there is.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what the fuck happened to him?
I'll put it this way, Adam. Before I got into the movie, I sort of stumbled across this thing where it was a petition to send M. Night back to film school. And I kind of chuckled and I was like, oh, he's not that bad. I was like, he's had his moments. He's not that bad. By the credits, I was looking to sign the fucking petition.
Yeah, because nothing works. He doesn't get very good performances. I think that he constantly uses the whole fucking daily exposition.
Yeah,
There is so much shit being given out by the fucking police.
Yeah.
I was just like, these guys are after a serial murderer, and yet they stand around and hand out tidbits of information to any fucking Joe Bloggs who walks in the door.
And they consistently do things where you just say, there's not a police force in history that are going to put the manpower and what they put together for this based on what you've just fucking thrown out to us.
Exactly.
Because you seem to have no idea who you're after.
Exactly. You've got no fucking idea.
Yeah.
But it all leads to an ending where we find out some information about how he kind of got on the radar, where I was just like, fucking anonymous tip.
Yeah.
It's this guy.
It's one of those things where you have to suspend disbelief. You have to watch any movie, really.
Yes.
Especially of this nature. But there were so many moments where you like, I just can't. When he does this or this happens, you just can't.
From the get-go, unfortunately, you're
And
suspending
even the little
disbelief.
ones that he gets away with, you're like, oh, well, I can get past that. But then we got another one around the corner.
Yeah.
It's just constantly like, no.
I've got no idea what happened to him.
What were your stars here?
One. Yeah.
Fuck, I thought I was upset.
No, I wasn't upset. I was just like, this is the kind of shit that you'd find on Tubi.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't fucking walk in and headbutt me after making you watch it.
No, I wasn't that fucking fired up. It was just simply, I think I was more fired up about Drop because I had to pay fucking $25 to go and see it. I was like, fuck this, I wouldn't pay
25. Fucking get your VIP card
No, we
sorted,
had
mate.
a VIP, or it was 21 or 22. It was fucking ridiculous. And I was just like, maybe that's why I was steaming a bit harder there.
Yeah.
But this, I felt to myself, this is the kind of thing you'd find on Tubi, starring fucking Patrick Muldoon.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And take notes, Max. I pay $0 for Tubi.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm currently on $0 a month on Tubi.
If I'm going by like a dollars down to films breakdown, I've currently paid $180 to watch this movie.
You have.
I've got to dig in and find some more content.
You
to
have
bring
got
that
your
number
money's
down.
worth out of fucking Tubi, and you've paid $0.
I've paid $0.
But I guess, and again, no disrespect to Patrick Muldoon, but I was just making an analogy that it would have been like a B or C grade guy making a made-for-TV movie. This is what this felt like.
Yeah.
And it just never got going at all.
Yeah, never.
In fact, it gets off to a bit of a flyer, but then just fucking spins its wheels for
But it's all based on the
45
premise.
minutes.
Everything that's good early on is stuff we already knew was going to be
what
sound,
the premise was.
the high concept.
All right. Likes. The premise
Exactly
itself
that.
I felt had legs.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does.
You could have done some interesting shit with it.
Yeah.
I mean, how successful that would have been, I don't know. Because it does have it has its lengths. You can only go so far with it.
It's another one of these ones where it's obviously gonna hang on how it all plays out, as this one did. But there is room there to create something really fucking suspenseful.
Yeah.
Like, it's not that dissimilar to something like Sudden Death in terms of where you're going to find some of the... Where you're going to squeeze some of the drama and have us on our, creeping up to the edge of our seat and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So the concept is definitely ripe.
I would tick the concept.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
absolutely.
And that's one thing I'll give Shyamalan. He usually comes up with concepts that have some interest.
Yes.
Right? He currently does not fucking like talk about play and miss. He's not getting singles. He's fucking not hitting the ball.
No, that's right.
Right. I felt the concert scenes early on. It felt like a concert. Like, I got a feel. Like, it reminded me of going to any concert I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Exactly that kind of thing. Like, where you see people up on stage, when there's only fucking 10,000 people in a 50,000 stadium.
Except the one thing I was missing was when you go to the, the beer line and you say one beer, thank you, and they say $25 and you're like, excuse me? Fuck. That was missing.
Also,
or at the merch stand. What do you mean? You're asking $120 for a hoodie. You can fucking stick it.
Yeah, one hoodie, please.
Yeah. Fire up, slam the money down. I'll take it, but I don't have to like it.
The only thing that was missing was going to a Counting Crows concert and getting abused by the fucking
lead singer.
by the lead singer as being a fair weather fan.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean,
of course you stood up for Mr. Jones.
Well, I'll tell you what, I won't stand up again, you fucking cocksucker. I paid $100,
You're still
asshole.
filthy about that, aren't you? Still filthy
yeah.
about
And you know what? You were playing the Enmore Theatre, wasn't it?
Mm.
You weren't playing fucking Telstra Stadium, dipshit.
Harsh.
Very harsh. So the concert sequences felt natural, I guess.
Yeah,
to a
they
degree.
felt pretty.
I felt exactly the way I would have felt.
And he got enough like extras on board and everything for it to look like
a legitimate
concert. Yes.
Yeah. I did like the fact that when he gets hold of the radio,
yeah,
and he's listening to the radio chatter, and he's about to pull the fucking fire alarm.
Yep.
And the profiler cuts into the radio chatter and said, this guy will pull the fire alarm or do something like that, to create a diversion so he can get out. And so he fucking pulls up and doesn't do it.
Yeah.
I thought that was, he sort of pivots to something else.
Yes.
A little bit smaller scale. I like that.
Well, this is where, we're still somewhat in the early going here where they do a couple of things that I was thinking, yeah, we're building all right here. We're building okay. So that was one of them. I thought they used the radio reasonably well to kind of have him sort of be able to get a little bit more info, to be able to get, again, there's some problems with it, and I'll go into them.
You could have swallowed that if that was the only issue.
Well, this is the thing, yeah. Like, as you said, there's things going on where you'll swallow a little bit of that and you'll cop it. But, yeah, I like the radio because it starts to pull away from the concert a little bit and have all this shit going on around him that he's kind of starting to get this focus on. And you get these little shots of him seeing police around the place, and they start to say, we're targeting this area.
Mm.
And you're building nicely. But unfortunately, it's another thing that doesn't quite get there because we drop the radio somewhat.
Yeah, we drop it. And there's also an issue with that I'll get to about in the concert, out of the concert.
Yeah.
That I fucking could not. I've never been to a concert where I've fucking left the concert 500 times.
Left the seat so many times, yeah.
So they should have taken a different approach, which I'll get to. But I agree, yes, I feel like they found a couple of reasonable moments. I wouldn't say it was percolating fantastically.
No, but it was building,
something was happening.
Yeah, it
right?
was building somewhere, and when you start to see him get a sense of, he gets some knowledge of what they're doing. He starts to look around and starts to plot. I thought, okay, we're on. We're building to what we want here. But yeah, it was another one. It's another one where Gibbo's fucking going to rip into us for giving likes for shit that didn't actually work out in the end. So
yeah, Gibbo's right though. We should stop fucking doing it.
Can he watch this? I would love to. Just watch it and send us an audio message.
He would be fucking ropeable.
Yeah,
he would want his.
He does like
10.
things to make sense.
He would like his 100 minutes back.
Yeah,
I didn't have a lot. That mid portion is a tough slog.
Yeah.
So that's going to all be in the fucking later bits.
Yes. Well, I'll give you a couple of little bits here. Food stand with the bottles when he drops the bottles.
Yeah, that's
of oil.
not bad.
That's
when he pivots from pulling the fire alarm.
He pivots, but he also does something that's pretty fucking nasty.
Yes.
And really, for a guy called the Butcher, we don't get any more than that in the movie. So it was the one moment where you're like, okay, he's pretty fucking ruthless. He's going to throw someone under the bus to get where he wants to go.
Yeah.
Again, comes with a massive set of issues. But, we get the sense, all right, like I said, he's going to harm somebody.
Yeah.
He's going to do what he needs to do. I'll talk about what I didn't like about a bit later on.
Yeah.
Also, before we get out of the concert, we get Kid Cudi, who in about fucking 30 seconds of screen time almost makes the entire movie worth watching.
The Thinker is fucking brilliant. And he's only in it for maybe 2 minutes.
I mean,
he does a song on stage.
Yeah.
He abuses his fucking right.
He comes on screen, and the first thing he's talking about is to his assistant that she got the wrong type of milk. And I believe he says something like, "You won't stop until I do on myself, will you?"
He goes, will you? Again, like he's seething before he goes out there.
Absolutely seething. And then he disappears, does a song, disappears for a few minutes until we come across him backstage.
And he's at Lady Raven's door.
And he comes up, the same assistant. He's like, "I said I wanted honeysuckle sour kombucha, bitch."
Then he's like, knock on the door. Harder! She's fucking knocking on the door. When it opens, it's Lady Raven, and he's like, "Hey!" He's fucking Jesus Christ.
I mean, he was great.
I'm loving his form. He was so good. Like that fucking 2 minutes was
was the highlight of the movie.
Like,
no question.
He stole the fucking movie in 2 minutes. By far the best performance.
I mean, it seemed very, very much inspired by Dave Chappelle's Rick James. Surely. Had the hair and everything.
It was brilliant.
It was.
And again, like that. There was nothing wrong with adding a little humour.
No.
To it. But again, like it's not a good sign when basically a cameo, because that's what
Well, that's pretty
Cuddy
much what
is.
it is.
He's
Yeah.
pretty much a cameo in this movie. Is by far your best actor. Like he fucking
He's actually, for everything I've seen him in,
he's got a
seems to be
nice
quite
little
a talented
resume.
actor,
He's got a nice little resume coming along.
yeah.
You know, fuck. Like, give
Well,
me.
I read certain reviews that said, M. Night's clearly in on the joke because he's casting people from The Parent Trap in a movie called Trap and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, I didn't see any of that until right now.
I think Hayley Mills.
Yeah,
is that
yeah,
the
yeah.
profiler,
Yes.
or was that the wife? Oh,
No, I'm pretty sure it was the profile. Alison Pill was the wife.
Ah, okay, yeah.
But yeah, I didn't see any kind of real touches of humour until then.
No. That was the only piece of humour that like. But again, there was nothing wrong with having that because what the thinker was just a fucking overhyped, like over the top version of
dickhead.
any sort of musician that they usually
This
find out
person
about.
that you're putting on a pedestal is actually just a real dick.
Exactly, but it's nicely played. It's really nicely played.
I'd watch the whole movie if he was
If
the
they
one.
had a spin-off of the Thinker's fucking backstage efforts.
This movie is 5 times as good if you switch out Salika Shyamalan's character with Kid Cudi's character.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
And we
10
get
times
half
better.
an hour of him on stage.
That would have been gold.
Yeah.
Anything else in that middle portion?
No, it was a real tough slog. This is the part where it just seems like over and over he's just getting lucky. And
Yeah. I
There's
really
not a real
struggled with
squeeze
that
on.
midsection
Yep.
for a number of reasons. This is where the pacing is at its worst. Like, it's really, really bad. I think that the best, you talked about a little bit of cat and mouse. When he basically bails up Lady Raven backstage, he tells her he's the butcher.
yes,
He tells her he's got someone.
which is good.
Yeah,
I didn't
and he
mind that part.
says, "You're going to fucking take us out of here."
Yeah.
That was a nice touch because that's the only way to get out without being scrutinised, right?
Yep.
So I like that. But then she turns it back on him when they're in the car
Yeah,
and she turns to the little girl and says, "How about I come to your place?"
yeah.
And you can see him squirming over there, realising, fuck.
Yeah.
Because he
What are
says
you
something
doing
like,
here?
before that, he says something like, "You can just drop us on the corner."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's in a situation where it's like, this is where the whole concert and the daughter thing works out well, is because, like, your daughter's just not going to let you say, no, don't worry about coming to our house. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
It was
fuck
like
no,
payoff.
this is, she's coming. She's coming to the house. you
Yeah,
know?
so I thought those two moments and they were pretty much back to back. So I was kind of like, oh, hang on, now
Yeah.
maybe we're switching things. Admittedly,
we
I was
might be in.
I was pretty fucking pissed off at that stage.
Oh,
'cause
mate,
it was about an hour
I was
in.
well gone. And I'd hit the point where we're getting out of the concert and I'm like, there's just far too long left. This should have been where we're really pushing right
Yeah.
towards the end, but there was so much time left. That's where the pacing was really,
That was
a real
kind of
problem.
it for me.
Well, I had one more, and it's a caveat again. It is the scene with his wife.
Yeah.
It raises a shitload of questions.
Yeah.
It raises like a lot of questions, but I didn't necessarily dislike the idea of she had a suspicion, and she wanted to sort of follow up on it.
Yes.
That part of it is okay, but I think the strong part is Josh Hartnett and Alison Pill both do pretty well in the scene.
Yeah.
I think you get a bit of feeling between them. You get him kind of taking the goofy dad mask off and just getting to be a little dark.
Yes.
And he drops a couple of lines in there like that were kind of, they added some kind of little bit of depth that I think it was way too late to be adding, but something that could have worked in between them. Like when he starts saying we could have, I mean, he's getting ready to kill her, but he's telling her we could have kept on going
Yeah.
and things like this. And then he starts to tell her, like, I think that's the point where he tells her, I really hate you because you've cost me the rest of my life with my kids and whatever. So you're seeing there's portions in there. There is a little bit of depth to, it's not just, it's a facade and he's just the ultimate evil or whatever. It's like, no, there's layers here that he actually genuinely does care about his daughter and he's doing something for her that's kind of been his downfall and whatever. He just gets to be a little bit dark and adds a few things that I would have liked to see more of prior to that.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take that.
But all in all, the ramifications of that scene are bad.
Yes.
Bad
Extremely.
news. Bad news.
All right, anything else to know?
Look, just a small touch on, like, I think I've mentioned, like, Josh Hartnett. I liked his work all the way through, but I'm gonna kick M. Night a little. But I think his direction at times was fine.
Yeah, I think I would say that was probably his best of his three hats.
Yeah,
Make that four. Sorry,
his
because he
writing-
fucking did some acting
his
as well.
writing was not his best.
No,
But I think there was moments of the direction where you could see if this was a little tighter and we had a few of those things in the writing department, he probably could have done something with them.
yeah.
So yeah, I'll give him a small touch of credit for that.
All right,
That's it.
dislikes. I think the acting across the board was pretty bad.
Including Hartnett?
Hartnett's okay.
He's up and down.
He's up and down. Yeah, his goofy dad stuff's a little bit.
Too on the
too
nose.
goofy.
Yeah.
Like he's too goofy.
Yep.
The sequence where he talks to the guy at the merch stand. I mean, fuck. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing here? His facial expressions are all fucking over the shop. He's too
Yeah.
much. Like, I don't know what was happening there, but I agree. When he darkens things up a bit,
Yeah.
we get a better performance from him.
Yeah. I liked moments of the goofy. There was a few times when he was putting on a smile and you could kind of look at it and say, fuck, that's really bunged on.
Yeah.
But not necessarily suspicious. Yeah, he's in this situation where it's just like you're in a crowd. You can see him trying to just sort of get lost in the crowd with some of his behaviour, but he's it was certainly a bit up and down.
His daughter was terrible.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Like, it took me out of things.
Yeah, it did.
It took me out of things. I would have felt better if, okay, you wanted to showcase your daughter. She should have just been the concert.
But
Right.
should she? Because, I mean, okay,
If you wanted to
put her in that
there-
role, the problem is we get too much of the concert.
Yeah, I know. We needed to
We
cut
get
down
full
on that.
songs.
Yeah, I know. We needed to cut down on that badly.
Yeah, unless you've actually got Taylor Swift
Yeah.
stepping in and saying this is the Eras
Yeah.
tour and the movie's set in that.
I can't wait to
Don't-
fucking work with him.
We
like
don't
Shyamalan.
need full songs. And it just became so clear that, okay, you've turned this into a showcase for your daughter.
Yes.
And it was a mistake. It's pretty clear that he hasn't necessarily written that role
No.
as the story around it. He's put far too much focus on
Yeah.
that character, and it being his daughter just makes it clear, all right, you've made this a showcase for her, and that's not to its benefit.
No, not at all.
I mean,
Not
the
at all.
movie is not better for her stepping into a big acting role down the last fucking half of the movie.
No. And in fact, it's very jarring.
It is jarring.
And
And
I was just like, what the fuck?
we get more bad dialogue. We get in the house. There's 2 minutes. There's a full 2 minutes where he squeezes in another whole song of her sitting on the piano.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was just like, what the fuck?
Like that's
Oh,
we didn't need it.
no.
So I thought that was actually a problem.
One of the big problems is exactly what you said. Situations, information, and items just continue to fall into the guy's hands
Yeah.
without any kind of effort. In a way, he just kind of bumbles his way into it.
Yeah.
Case in point, when he finally gets the key card to go downstairs, the fucking police are having a powwow, and he wanders in. No one says, "What the fuck are you doing in here?"
Yeah.
And detains him.
He wanders through all of them.
It's ridiculous.
He's like,
It's the
excuse me,
it's the
just gotta
most
get to the
fucking
coffee.
ridiculous thing I ever saw. Like, the cops would never do that. Like, not in a grandiose scale that they seem to have set this up as.
Yeah. You're not doing it in the employee's break room.
Yeah.
And if
Well,
someone does bust in when you supposedly got it locked down, we're asking a few questions,
well,
surely.
you're being detained.
And the
Because
question
any
is not,
male at that age group we were looking for.
yeah, the question is not, hey, where do you keep your sugar? Like this is what I'm talking about with the direction. I thought the direction in that scene was okay, but there's not a moment where he gets the squeeze put on.
No.
If that scene plays out very similar, but there's a point where someone says, "Hey, what's your name? What are you doing here?" Blah blah blah, and he's got to use some wiliness and some cunning to get out of that.
His way out of it. That would have worked.
And I actually thought when they said, "Where do you keep the sugar?" it was going to be like, "Oh fuck, I don't know. I'm going to have to make something up." He fucking bends down to a cupboard and there's some sugar. Like fuck. Really? And then he follows that up with, "Would you like some donuts? I'll leave them out." And then pisses off. And gets the radio on the way out. So how is that difficult for him?
I don't know about you, but I would have taken the donuts.
I would have fucking eaten the donuts myself.
For sure.
But also, like, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
But you're 100% correct, Jared. I don't know how many times the police say it is, but whenever there's been a fucking situation where someone's been murdered, they're looking at people who are immediately trying to fucking insert themselves into an investigation. Yeah. As soon as they start doing that, they're like, "This cunt."
Yeah. Yeah.
This is our guy.
Yeah, that prick carrying the donuts. He was a bit suspicious.
Old mate comes downstairs. There's no one else down there except the police.
Yeah.
Old mate appears. He is immediately fucking detained.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
This
We're gonna
badge
ask you a couple
does
of
not
questions.
belong to you.
Not to mention
Where the fuck did you get it from?
Not to mention he's not in any sort of employee fucking uniform.
Exactly.
Everyone else seemed to be.
It would have made more sense if he was. The cops sort of gave him a pass.
Yeah. There's many problems with these.
But you're talking about a
sort of
gigantic police operation where they're saying every male will be fucking checked on the way out.
Yep.
They had 5,000 cops.
Yeah.
Like,
every male will be checked except for this bloke who happens to just avoid that 4 to 5 times without
because he
really.
brought donuts with him, Jared.
Yeah. But he gets lucky a number of times.
It's fucking horse shit.
It's
just
not
so.
So I had a review of from a source that I respect a lot, Adam.
You used to respect.
So I'll leave them nameless. But there's a line in the review that says it's a rare thriller where every character is smart, and then insinuates that he makes smart moves, but then he's topped by the smart moves. I was watching a different movie because that didn't happen.
There were no
once.
smart moves.
That did not happen once. Case in point, old mate at the merch stand. He's giving crucial information out in seconds. Because he likes the cut of your jib. He likes it.
Because you gave the last shirt to the person next to you.
To the other person that was
Let me
whinging
tell
about
you,
it.
Jared, I'd say fucking we're taking that.
Yeah, I would have given it to you, but your manners are shit. I'm taking that. But then he's like, you're a great family, great values. You don't see that very often.
By the way, the butcher's been.
Oh, yeah. So what are all the cops here for? Oh, yeah, you look all right. I'll spill the beans. And then if that's not bad enough, he ends up giving him the fucking code word in all of this. We're talking about the dialogue and the writing. He goes, "Oh, we've even got a code word." And Josh Hartnett goes, "What's the code word?" "Oh, if you don't mind." And the guy just kind of gives the old look left, look right, and goes, "Oh, yeah, you're one of us." And fucking spills it. I was just like, that is the worst way. I don't necessarily mind someone thinking you're on their team and giving, they look at you like fucking you're the John McClane of the situation or something that he's won you over. But this was not it. It was all too easy.
But Jared, when they used that code word, it wasn't necessary because the suspenseful part of it was, where's the card we gave you?
Yeah.
And he just happens to open the other guy's wallet.
It just happens to be fucking sitting in this thing that I've just taken.
Wallet. But that was the suspenseful bit, not the fact that he knew the code word. So
but
why the fuck do we care about that?
But it wasn't suspenseful. The suspenseful was, the code word, I've got that. Gives it to him. What about the card? The suspenseful part is in his head, what fucking card?
Yeah, exactly.
Not, I look down in my pocket 3 seconds later and produce said card.
This one.
How is that wiliness and smart characters?
It's not. It needed to be him trying to fucking talk his way out of it.
Oh, it just did my head in.
But I think, Jared, maybe that would have been also just as bad.
Well, with the dialogue that was coming out,
correct.
It probably would have been as bad.
Correct.
But I was just like, I couldn't. Every time it came to that, there was an easy way out. I actually think it would have played better if she was fucking randomly selected for the Dreamer Girl
Yeah.
business.
Yes. Which
Because
puts him under the pump.
Yeah,
Again.
Well, shouldn't it have been like that happens when there's a bit of a squeeze on?
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to fucking get out of here.
Yeah.
And then my daughter's suddenly been called up
But
on
it
stage.
wasn't the squeeze. It was the status quo. He's still just standing there in the seat and he's looking around, seeing the cops exactly where they've always fucking been.
But also, Jared, coming back to the concert, he leaves the concert about 50 times, whereas they should have just had him fucking leave and not come back.
Yeah.
Because
Longer
he's so
stretches of him being away.
He's so fucking ruthless, Jared. He only cares about himself.
Yeah.
He doesn't give a fuck about his daughter. Now that he's under the hammer, he's out. He's trying to get out of there.
Yeah.
Right? He doesn't give a shit what happens to his daughter.
Yep.
That like it just continued to go back where then she would question him and then nothing would come of that.
No, that's right.
Well, Dad, you're acting like a twat.
Yeah. Oh, that's because I am.
I am. Yeah, I am.
I am a twat.
This is an interesting one, and I don't think clearly Shyamalan had a the whole idea that Hartnett was the butcher from the get go, but for some reason I sort of felt like maybe the idea that he's feeling pressure because you think he's the butcher, but he's got something else on his rap sheet. He thinks the fucking cops are there for him for that fucking thing, and then your twist is the butcher's somewhere else.
No.
Because I thought that would have been Shyamalan's bag.
No. Because they used that and it was fucking terrible.
But
One of the worst bits of the movie.
But
I'm sorry, I can't help but laugh at it. Remember when he's talking to the other mum?
Oh,
and they've got a bit of bad dialogue, and these two cops kind of start side-eyeing him.
Yeah, that's
And then
right.
immediately you hear some bloke going, ah, in the background.
That's right, that guy's charging down the
And
road.
this is where we get that really bad moment on the radio when he first turns on the radio and the profiler announces herself by her full name.
Yes, correct.
And then says, that's not the man that we wanted. He had a career history in B&E and he thought this was all for him and sort of lost it.
Yeah. It could have been like fucking Rumpelstiltskin in Halloween Kills. Could have been. You could have had similar fucking amusing moments.
I'm just sort of like, you didn't go for that, then. You shouldn't have just been, you're at a concert, a fucking drunken fight or something stupid like that. Like,
Actually, that would have been better because it would have been less of him creating a problem.
yeah.
Like a blue breaks out.
Just when
Couple
they
of drunken
mentioned that.
assholes.
Just when they mentioned that, I just fucking. But here's where you need him to kind of be doing some of that, isn't it? Like when he pushed the girl down the stairs.
Yeah.
It comes with some issues, which I'm going to talk about related to the food stand. But again, it's just something that just happens to get him out of it, not him getting out of it.
No, he never.
There's
again,
no cunning.
You're
from
coming
the guy.
back from the cunning. Yeah, there is none.
There's a little bit when he's like pickpocketing and pinching radios, but that's it.
Yeah, but there's no cunning to get out of tight spots,
No.
right?
And there's no real tight spots anyway.
Yeah.
They're all made too easy for him. Yeah, I guess another one was, I might be pushing ahead here, but it's all related to.
No, but we've
it's all
covered
M.
a
Night's
lot of
fault.
shit that was that I've got on my list here related to certain things. We're
Yeah,
talking
look.
more broadly.
It's all, well, I'm kind of getting a little specific sort of work here, and it's like, here's another example of it, and it's M. Night himself. So I just feel like the biggest problem for him was the writing of it was just no good.
No.
That was where I thought the biggest issue was, but his cameo,
Yes.
it kind of sums up all of it. It makes it easy for Hartnett because he just rolls over and tells a lie. It's got bad dialogue.
Very.
When he goes, oh, you work with this girl, and Shyamalan goes, I'm actually her uncle, her mother's brother. She's great. And Hartnett goes, wow. And I was like, fellas, fucking hell. Like, this is a fucking parody at this point, isn't it?
You guys are both seasoned Hollywood professionals. I would have thought one of you would have said, fuck me, what was that?
But it almost just felt like Shyamalan just gushing over his fucking daughter.
Yeah, a little bit.
This was where, but it leads into another one of these fucking so-called smart, everyone around Hartnett's smart. Okay, so he's made a play here, which I felt was a little too easy again. Oh yeah, my daughter's suffering an illness. She'd love to be the dreamer girl, but I'm not pressing anything. Just say thanks for me. And then, of course, Shyamalan walks over. But that leads to the cop kind of looking him up and down saying we should check him. And Shyamalan goes, no, he's good. He's with us.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys know what you're here for?
Yeah. It's not for the concert,
It's not the-
dipshit. It's
Yeah.
the fucking police.
There is a purpose
It's
to
a police fucking operation.
this. Yeah, so
Weren't
you
you
are
ass
told
cakes
every
briefed?
motherfucker that comes backstage gets checked, which is one of the parts that doesn't make sense. They're treating this, like we're going to play it like it's a real concert, but that's going to include us just ushering you past the checkpoints.
Yeah, he's fine.
When it's like, no, we tell you everybody that comes past gets checked,
No,
including Kid Cudi, because he's fucking suspicious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's fucking very suspicious. But, yeah, it feels like, yeah, okay, on you go, sir. Like, look, I've summed it up and I've thought to myself, it can't be you. So, just move on.
Yeah. Oh, you told me a lie to get out of a fucking a jam. You wouldn't do that. You wouldn't.
Let's check this guy, though. How about that?
It's ridiculous.
It's too convenient.
Yeah.
Because the police, you would think they would be going, no exceptions.
Yeah, he's
Everyone
honestly
is checked.
one of the biggest problems is that he's literally never squeezed in the concert
Yeah, nah, not at all.
until he gets into the situation where with Lady Raven where they say, "Oh, we are going to. You've just got to answer a few questions to get out the back door there." So he plays that card, but that's really the only one where it's like, backs against the wall. This is what I got. But there was no fucking build up to that. Everything else was just, I get out of this
Yes.
pretty comfortably. I just happen to have what I need.
Speaking of the dialogue, I'm just backtracking slightly, but when we first get him and his daughter coming to the concert, I was just like, I don't believe any of this.
No.
Like, the whole dialogue exchange is just so fucking cliche and so
bad.
lame. I was just kind of like, they don't even feel like fucking father and daughter.
Yeah. I mean, all of the chat in the movie is either a character giving over info they shouldn't be or someone talking like they're just learning what a fucking conversation is. It's really bad.
It is.
Yeah.
Terrible.
What about when he's talking to the other mother? This is one of those parts where like his facade is almost too goofy.
But see, Jared, I think it would have been better. Like, because she's pressing him.
Yeah.
She's pressing him. I reckon it would have been better if he'd have fucking put his head next to her ear and said, you fucking listen here. You don't fuck off right now. Someone's going to get hurt.
Yeah, or something like that.
Like,
but he's
to
never put
really
in that
give her-
situation.
Other than, apart from stepping back and going, let's have pizza next
Yeah.
week. What the
My
fuck?
favourite was, she's like, I know you're upset. And he goes, I am upset. My daughter was hurt, but it's delicate. Let's talk about it later. I'm like, did you read this? It's fucking terrible.
Like again, I think he could have even said to her, you have no idea who you're fucking dealing with.
Yeah.
Get
Or
the
there's
fuck
lines
out of
where
my
there's
face.
lines where you could take it where he's really fucking
He's forceful,
putting the skin on,
but it's not enough to...
he's really threatening her, but it's not necessarily giving away that he's the butcher.
Yes, correct.
And
So
stuff like that.
He's forceful and he's getting
Yeah.
that darker shit going.
Yeah.
But it's enough just to tell her to fuck off, right?
So
but
another
they didn't
question:
even jump to that. They
Why
didn't even
we-
want to go there.
why are we even bothering with the girls' drama?
No
Because
reason.
the
what
only
does that
reason-
bring? What does that bring?
The only reason I could see was that this scenario with the other mother was going to build into what it looked like it was going to, where there's a bit of feeling in the back and forth. And as you said, he gets pressed, he's got to fucking drop his facade a little bit, and the cops start looking at it. But we just undercut that straight away by the fucking bloke who thought it was the SWAT team was out for his break and enters.
I've been doing B&E's. 400 fucking SWAT members are here for me.
Oh, fuck yeah, I stole a couple of Mars bars from the concession stand. So what? Like,
I'm
they
Michael
were
Myers.
charging $10 for
I'm
them.
fucking 5'3". I'm Michael Myers. Yeah,
Yeah.
shoot something like that.
But yeah, once we basically don't use that anymore after 40 minutes?
This should have been re-looked at.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of, okay, some of this stuff could be cut away and make it a leaner, meaner kind of. We know what the central plot point is.
I thought it was going to build to like he's going out to the car. The concert's wrapping up. He wants to get an early exit to the car. The other mother runs
Bails
into
out,
him again and just says, "Listen, this," and that's where we have a bit of a confrontation that draws attention that he doesn't want.
Yeah.
Or something, and he was going to be forced back into the
Yes.
the concert or something like that. But we wrap it up, We wrap it up like that, and then
Pizza?
the next time we see him is the Dreamer Girls, and you see the daughter fucking throw a drink on her mum, and her mum starts yelling at her, "You're a little beast."
Yeah, that was all right.
Another moment of comedy. But,
Yeah, with that.
but again, we've just wasted all this time on these conversations that amounted to no impact on the story whatsoever.
No, totally agree. Totally agree. Now, there is a moment, Jared, that I'm going to bring up where I just, what the fuck was happening? He sees the
one?
trap door,
Yeah.
and then he turns to his daughter and goes, "Well, that looks pretty cool. Why don't we
go down there?"
Why don't we climb down there?" What the fuck?
The answer's no, dickhead.
You're an adult.
You know what that reminded me of? The first thing I could think of was when we, as 30 and 40-something adults jumped into the car with your brother and he's dropped what I haven't done in a while? A couple of donuts.
Then he did half a dozen donuts with my other brother's fucking wallet and keys on the roof. Oh, fucking hell.
That's what
You know
Hartnett
what?
was proposing.
Yeah, well, Jared, I sometimes think about that. Can I do some donuts?
Should I? No, probably not.
No, best not.
That's exactly the same situation. Should I go down into this tunnel?
No, but Jared, once
and then her
again,
response would have been like your brother's when he turned up and realised his wallet had been
you
flown
fucking idiot.
somewhere else into the car. Just look at him and say, "You're a fucking idiot."
Yeah, what though? The thing about that was you're looking at the trapdoor as a potential exit point. Is that what he was
exactly.
doing?
That's what it looked like he was doing.
You don't say that to your daughter. Like,
No.
I don't understand
you
the
just
fucking...
jump in and do the
No,
donut.
But you don't...
You don't think?
You just... You clock it. That could be a way out.
Yeah, exactly.
For me.
Yeah.
Right? But again, we needed to come back to... I don't give a fuck about my daughter now. I am fucking... My sole purpose is to get out of here.
But as we said, it never got to that point. It never boiled to that.
Yeah. So he is so under the pump that he is not even listening to her.
Yeah.
He is constantly looking around, checking his options, seeing where the police are. The trapdoor's an option for me.
So it was another thing that just wasn't used. Like we have
So he
it, but then he
basically
goes,
goes,
"Oh, we should go down there." And she goes, "No," and he goes, "Oh."
He steps out and goes, "Whoo!" and just disappears down the trapdoor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like when I saw it, I was like, okay, this is another one where I'm like, all right, we might get something here. He might do something silly or he might do something desperate. And nothing happens.
It was stupid. It was so fucking stupid. And, I know that, and see, none of that came of it either, Jared.
Yeah.
Because the idea could have potentially been the daughter clocks it.
Yeah.
Is he the fucking butcher? He is acting
Well, that's another
really
way that
fucking
we could have thrown
strange.
something in. But she, nobody's supposed to know. Although, given how easily the information was spreading, it's probably on fucking social media. It's on the Constance fucking WhatsApp group. Did everyone realise that everyone's here for the
billboard
butcher?
out the front.
Yeah.
By the
pretty
way,
much.
this is a police operation. You know what I mean? She should have clocked him.
If you've done some BNEs, don't worry, they're not here for you.
Yeah, we're not here for you. Because that was the way it seemed, Jared.
Yeah.
That she'd clocked him.
Yeah.
She was starting to realise
Yeah, you're acting
you are acting really
funny
fucking
here.
weird. Why are you asking stupid questions like this?
Mm.
And maybe she starts to put two and two together. She should have been there when he asked the question about the butcher.
Yeah, something like that.
Because then it would have at least clicked in her mind. Well, they talked about this being a police operation. Now my fucking dad's talking all strange.
Yeah, overhears or something like that.
Saying he wants to go down through the trapdoor like some sort of fucking idiot.
But I mean, she was interested in seeing the concert, which he very clearly wasn't at. He was fucking everywhere else, but
everywhere else.
but the concert.
Jared, how many fucking stoppages did they have?
Oh, he was gone like about 5 times.
He
just
should have
fucking kept
stayed
getting
out
up.
there. Because to
I
me,
left my wallet at the stand and he's off again. Like,
because to me, if you are not going to use the whole idea that the daughter has clocked him, as being the potential suspect. Just he had to be out
But
roaming.
here's the big issue, Adam. Nobody clocked him. The police didn't. They put on the radio about fucking 6 descriptions of the person that it could be. So that's the very first moment where I thought, nobody's putting this operation into play when you're looking for one person when your description is going to cover about fucking 40% of the crowd. Surely.
But you have limited information as a police force.
Yes.
So you don't put that much manpower in play.
It seems like the manpower was put in play on the information that, we think he's going to be at the gig. All right, good. What else have we got? Not
Nothing.
much.
All right. Get me 3,000
But they
SWAT
talk
members.
about that they checked his car. They know what colour car he drives. Nobody's checking cars.
No.
I
That's
know
right.
they parked reasonably close to the venue by the looks.
But I think he was in his wife's car, wasn't he? Is that what he said?
No, doesn't he take his wife's car at the end?
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway,
Fucking
I was
bullshit.
just kind of there's a lot of shit going on. But when we get to leaving the gig,
Yeah.
the wheels fall off
Oh, hugely.
for me.
They fall apart. There was no need to leave the concert. You needed to fucking wrap this thing up at the concert. 85 minutes.
Yeah.
Like short and sharp.
Yep.
They did nothing. None of that. When we get out there, it fucking falls apart really fast. Like
Yeah.
it just dawdles.
Like you said, kind of, I didn't mind the initial moves of her saying, no, I'm coming to your house, and then getting into the house.
And I was kind of
What?
like, oh, okay, the social media fucking angle.
That
Try
was
and
okay.
Find
That was
out where
okay.
this guy was. That was okay.
And so she plays
Well, that
that.
made sense, Jared,
Yeah.
because she had a big following.
But it just takes so long.
I
And that's
know.
this where we use the 2 minutes of her. We get more bad dialogue when she's like, you've all been so kind to me. One more song before I leave. And then she pinches his phone. I'm like, cool. I don't mind that move that he's videoing it. And she goes, let's get a picture, and bang, takes his phone. Doesn't seem to lock his phone for a bloke that's got some shit to hide on there. It doesn't have a
But yet,
passcode on there.
it had, every time she looked at it, it had, and then
yeah,
had
it
like
did.
the-
It did. It had that little bull kind
yeah,
of sign.
and she just pressed on it, and boom, up comes
Yeah, she
old
was
mate.
straight in.
And then he had to fucking log in with his code. But-
I mean, his phone was probably unlocked because he's taking a photo or taking the video. That was okay. I didn't need a full 2 minutes of another song that I wasn't.
no,
really,
I didn't need to hear
I wasn't
that.
really vibing with the song,
No,
Adam. So
no, not
um,
really my sort of music, I don't think.
no. But yeah, beyond that, there's not a hell of a lot going well.
Nothing's going well, especially when fucking the Lady Raven tries to act like his mum in the car.
Oh,
I was
I
just-
hated that scene.
I was like,
hated
holy
it.
shit. Kill her, mummy. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
I thought the profiler was going to be his mum. I
Oh.
was just like, what the fuck's happening?
Yeah.
That was the lowest
Not
step.
well acted.
Lowest step.
Not well. Again, bad dialogue. You can choose to be good, Cooper, and make me proud. I rolled my eyes so hard I nearly fell off my fucking
Oh,
chair.
fucking
Stop
ridiculous.
telling stories. Monsters aren't real. What are we doing?
What
are
are
we
we
doing?
doing? Oh,
Night. This is where I had the petition up.
yeah.
Ready to fucking
I would
send
have
you
been
back to
happy.
NYU.
I would
film
have been
school.
happy to sign that shit.
Oh, man.
I love the fact that there just happens to be an escape tunnel
Oh,
in the fucking closet that
A
goes
tunnel.
under the house and under the neighbour's house.
yeah.
Do
How did
you
he-
know, unless you've got Charles Bronson and Steve McQueen digging tunnels for fucking 2 years,
Yeah.
you're not doing that.
Also, you think of the logistics of, his wife goes into the pantry to grab a couple of spices or something, and he
Falls-
pops up with a fucking, like Leslie Nielsen in the Naked Gun 33 and a third with fucking dirt on his head.
And where's the dirt going?
Yeah, and
Is
when
this
you
a
pop up
Shawshank
in the
Redemption
neighbour's
thing?
yard, how do you fucking cover that shit up with that? How do you come
Howdy,
with
neighbour.
a... Oh, sorry,
Mate,
I'm just taking a divot out of your front lawn here. Let me take care of it for you.
Ridiculous.
Silly. But continues to get sillier. How the fuck does he get out of the limo? And when, the police say, take a step back, and no one says, oh, fuck, over here, this guy just fucking came out of the limo.
the guy with the hoodie on.
Yeah, but he
Who just
sets
happened
up...
to be 5 seconds ago dressed like a fucking SWAT team.
Initially, I thought he'd set up a dummy. And I was just like, No. And then realised it was, he's propped up the helmet on something.
Oh, my God.
But it was just so, like, you're pushing so many things beyond the bounds of believability that you can cop one or two of these things, but when they keep happening,
But when
it's
there's
like,
15 of them, you can't do it.
No.
I can't do it as an audience member. Now, his wife says, I got an inkling that it was you, and I followed you, and I found that house where, nothing happens, but, you like to hang out.
Yeah.
And I found the receipt for the tickets, and I left it there, and I called the cops, and I left an anonymous tip saying there was, this guy was the butcher's probably going to be at this concert.
Yeah.
And all I could think about is you left an anonymous tip. All you needed to say was, it's this guy.
Yeah, leave a name or a description
You don't
that
have
doesn't allow them to say he could be tall and red-headed, he could be a black
Guess
male,
what?
he could
Let's have
narrow
50
it down.
Let's shake down 50,000 people.
Yeah.
Right?
I was
you
hoping
could've
when they
just
said it could be a red-headed male that Conan O'Brien was going to have a cameo, fucking hamming it up, going, let me go.
Get arrested, dragged out of there. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense to do that.
Well, that's the big thing that makes it all come apart.
Yeah.
You've got the suspicion, but you don't leave any identifying feature other than he might be at the concert. And the police go, fuck, let's organise the biggest fucking manhunt in the history of our fucking department.
Yeah.
Centred around this concert.
It needed to be better than that. It needed to be saying, we have CCTV footage of a male who looks like this.
Yes.
He looks remarkably close to Hartnett, but he's changed his hair, maybe cut off a mustache or something.
Yeah.
So he can get away with being there.
Yep.
But he's now he's fucking sideswiped by the fact that the cops actually have him.
But they also they kept having these blokes dragged away. Like there was 2 or 3 times, other than Mr. Break and Enter, there was a guy near the M. Night Shyamalan kind of Dreamer Girl cameo bit where this guy's kind of standing there and gets a tap on the shoulder, and I'm like, he looks kind of...
And he also looks up into the stands, doesn't he, and sees
he
someone
looks up
get
in the stands,
missile.
gets someone take... None of those people resemble him in the slightest.
Yes.
So... At what point were we concerned that he was going to get nabbed?
But this is the thing. I would have thought Shyamalan was better than this. Even something as simple as that they had some CCTV that picked up a male that looks like this, who we believe is going to be at the concert, right?
Yeah.
Now we've got enough to say anyone looking this way. So the thing is, Hartnett has already changed his appearance, but he doesn't realise he got caught in the CCTV, which would have then really ramped the stakes up, right? He then suddenly realises, fuck, they actually have clocked me. They know roughly what I look like.
Yep.
Now I've got to start making moves. But he doesn't even try to do that.
Not at
The
all.
whole concept goes to shit because she doesn't leave a fucking anonymous tip to say it's this dickhead.
That's right.
I believe it's this guy. It just would have been simple.
Adam, let's be clear. I'm a man of average intelligence. I can be bamboozled and had very, very easily. But
very easily.
When I'm sitting here at every turn going, come on.
Yeah. If I'm
it's just so hard to cop.
If I feel like I can come up with something better, then something's wrong.
Yeah,
in my opinion, something's wrong.
Yeah, I hear you.
The last one for me was, I love the fact that we get sort of like the large sort of ridiculous ending where he removes a piece of wire from out in his long sleeve shirt.
Yeah.
And then fashions it into something to pick his handcuffs.
It was the bike spoke.
And I'm just like, so the police don't fucking bother to pat you down?
Yeah. They don't pat you down. They let you stop and pick up the bike.
Ridiculous.
When you've already demonstrated that you've got a tunnel, you might have a few other plans.
Yeah. You're a flight risk.
Don't touch that.
Yeah.
Get in the car.
Shut your fucking mouth.
Yeah. And what does it matter that he's undone the cuffs? Because they're going to open that door or have a peek through that hole and say shit.
The old mate's out of his cuffs. Shoot him.
Exactly. It's just so...
It's like when the cops taser him. He would have been shot. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah.
The fucking cops would have filled him full of fucking lead so quick it would have been not funny. Have you got anything else?
No, I'm fucking steamed again, Adam.
I'm steamed.
I'm steamed up about it.
I'm fucking steamed up. I'm going to ask one question. Is M. Night, has he fallen the furthest that you've ever seen? from somebody who was very well respected.
Well, didn't he have a stretch that was like the lady in the water and
Yeah,
the
but-
happening? And
But they were bad.
yeah,
But I think
yeah.
this is his lowest point.
It's pretty bad.
So,
But it hasn't been completely received that way. Some people seem to have had a fucking blast with it.
yeah, which is
And I
weird.
can understand enjoying a movie like this, even if it's not good and even if it's got some problems. But just
Too many
that
problems.
wasn't me. It was too many issues.
All right. Is that everything?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. That is Trap.
Check it out straight away.
Yeah, yeah.
Sign
Tell
up
us
to
what you
Max
think, for
immediately
fuck's sake.
for it.
Find us on Podomatic, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. Like us on Facebook, Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and Instagram at thrillmepodcast.au. Keep an eye out on the Facebook page to see what we cover next. But until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you all later. Cheers. Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.